Welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast, the podcast that gives you immediate actions you can take to start seeing life-shifting results now. Hey everybody, welcome to the Achieve Results Now podcast. This is Mark Cardone.
And Theron Feidt.
Here with a good friend of mine and a guest we've had on the podcast before, and I was looking and I could not believe that it's been almost 4 years, a little over 4 years,
Yeah.
since you were on the I almost called it the Barbcast, the podcast. Barb Stone is here. Barb, welcome back to the Achieve Results Now podcast.
Thanks, guys. It's good to be back. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about the same thing. I said, "Oh my goodness, it has been years." And I'm going like, "Oh, wow. The transformation that has gone on and
Yeah.
the voice that I had back then to the voice I have now." And
Uh-huh.
it's just like, but that's what life's all about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the growing,
And
so
speaking of growing, something I want to say is, it's interesting because we always say like the principles of success don't really change that much. We can listen to, Earl Nightingale and those original books and the things are still so consistent. But,
yeah.
something, the growth happens. And one thing that's changed a little bit is last time you were on the podcast, you were entrepreneur, leadership development coach, trainer, and speaker.
Yeah.
And now we've added author to that. So,
We've added author and TEDx speaker.
and
Nice.
look
So
look at that. And that's definitely something that we want to talk about today is,
yeah,
the journey you've gone through and, just how things have changed.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's all about the development. It's like always looking under every rock that we can find. And sometimes it gets a little tiring for me to tell you the truth, but yeah. Yeah.
So if you could remind the listeners about your background, because
Yep.
I'm sure we have new listeners from that haven't been listening the whole time. Just a brief, that'd be great.
So, I spent, after I got my MBA from Syracuse University, I spent 25 years as a senior female leader in manufacturing. So that tells you a lot,
Yeah.
having to really move forward. And because there's a certain paradigm, there's a certain culture that comes along, but I really wanted to be able to make a difference in the places that I worked. And I ended up eventually, I became an executive vice president, CFO. I moved up to taking that position. But along the path, I'm going like, is this what I really want to do? It's
Mm.
like just climb ladders. And I started taking a look at what I needed to do and
Mhm.
studying. So therefore, it started saying, oh, okay, who is Barb? What does she need to do? What's her purpose? And so I started studying resiliency, positive psychology, got involved in John Maxwell, then I got involved in coaching. I dabbled in coaching in that program. And then I decided I wanted to try to become a coach and create a business because I believe, I needed a coach way back
Mhm.
when I was, because I'm first full generation American and I'm of Polish descent. My father was off the Polish Navy ship, and so it's like my journey was not a straight line. It was a lot of curves, a lot of learning, and I wish now, looking back, connecting the dots, I wish that I had had somebody to guide me.
Mm.
So that's part of the reason that I became a coach, a leadership coach. And it's kind of funny, I started thinking about what did I call myself as I started a coach because the evolution has been amazing. So now, yes, I call myself a coach, speaker, trainer. I'm now a TEDx speaker. I did that in 2024, and I'm now the author of so much to drool about, Lessons for Living Large. So
Awesome.
just taking my passions and putting it together.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. I love the fact that you were I really think brave is the right term to start something new. You had a successful career, longevity, and you decided you wanted more, and I think a lot of people probably feel that way after a certain period of time, um, but many people don't take action,
Yeah.
So what spurred you to make that change?
So, Theron, what you just said was I wanted more.
Mm,
And I think that when you finish college and you're supposed to get a career, and what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to climb ladders and make money, climb
hmm
ladders and make money. And I'm going like, okay, but you know what? And I finally ended up saying there's got to be more to this. And then the more was, how can I help people? How can I help my community? One of the things when I had gotten involved in Leadership Greater Syracuse, and I was one of Chucky Holstein's children when she first started that. And um, it's about not only us, excuse me, but what is it that we can do back and give back to the community?
hmm
And so I think that, I got myself in a position where I wanted to be able to give back and help people. So that was my more that I wanted to do because I think we are always wanting to do something different. We're always looking to find that purpose, and that's what fills us. And one of the things I talk about in my training is leading ourselves first. We have to lead ourselves first.
And that's something
Right.
that you brought up on our last podcast. I think I remember you said just because it's a little bit fresh in my head, but about leading our life, which is different than managing our circumstances. You know,
Yep. Yes.
and I think that's something you've demonstrated both through coming up through manufacturing, where like that's circumstances you walked into, but you had to lead yourself through. But
Yep.
also just, when I think about writing a book, I think about other people go, oh, well, it must be nice to have time to write a book, right? Other people say, I mean, you think about the things, I know, right? You're laughing, people who are listening to this, like you're laughing at me because we don't, right? We have this, like, you're human, you have the same circumstances that everyone else has, right? You have,
Yeah.
family, you have, your dogs, you have your things going, all the other things you have going, so leading yourself, what you just said through that, I think is a great lesson for you to talk about.
So, as you're talking about that, I do this talk about, going back to the circumstances. Circumstances can define you, but you have that choice. And so I end up talking a lot about life can happen to us, where we can see ourselves as a victim, or life can happen for us where we can create from. But then life can happen through us where we really want to share that wisdom and be able to help people along their path. And, you know, this going back to this book, this book has been, I'll never forget, I was coaching an organization, and I was coaching an individual in the organization. And I said to her, I said, someday I think I've got a book in me. And this is like 2020. And she goes, Barb, when you're ready, I want to be there with you. Because she was more of a editor. And so I'm going like, okay, somewhere along the line. And so it was a seed that was planted. And then over the years, we stayed in touch. She left that company, but she goes, Barb, are you ready? Are you ready? And I'm going like, no, not quite yet. And then finally in 2023, she sends me a note during the summertime and says, Barb, are you ready? And I'm going, yeah, I think so. We were traveling for vacation in the fall, and I said, when I get back, let's talk about it. And we sat down in December 2023, and it's like the universe and God heard. And all of a sudden now I had a picture in my mind what I wanted to do. And because I wanted these a title, a little bit of a story, and I wanted an illustration to be able to depict the story, and then a wisdom statement. And one of the things and the part of this was the joining of my coaching and sharing the wisdom through these stories, but it was also my passion for Great Danes because we've had four Great Danes.
Hmm.
And but it goes back to when we were in the pandemic. I needed something inspirational to read every single morning.
Hmm.
And, Mark, one of the things we used to do on the coffee talk was start out with a little bit of an opening statement about life.
Mhm.
What is this all about? And I would read some of the statements. I read Seth Godin's The Practitioner, and to get people's juices going. So I'm going like, I could do a book like that, but in a different manner. And that's where, um, taking stories from my blogs and then getting an illustrator and then finding Avril, who's been my, editor assistant throughout this process,
Yeah.
has helped.
And I think you brought up something that we all want, right? And this is something that people talk about, but we rarely see in action, and that's the ability to just find something you're passionate about,
Mhm.
right? And create a business around it. And this is something that I think, people, this is where imposter syndrome comes in big time with people,
Mhm.
right? Is we go, well, like no one's interested in that thing that I'm into.
Hmm.
Nobody cares about that. I mean, look, I love Great Danes, right? Like, and I can see where a lot of people would go, yeah, but nobody wants to read a book about, like life from that dog's perspective. But people do, right?
Yeah.
Because not only are there people out there who are looking for inspiration, but there's people out there who also love dogs and Great Danes and love that perspective, So I guess where'd the courage come from to do it?
The recognizing what I need, and what
Yeah.
I need is to read something. I have a process in the morning, getting up, really thinking about gratitude. What am I grateful for? Because gratefulness expands.
Mhm.
Then it's prayer or meditation because you need to connect with God or the universe, whatever it is, and really kind of quiet your mind. But then I like to read something inspirational because it helps me put myself into focus before I look at my schedule for the day. So I think that one of the things that we do in business is really finding out what do we need. And then because what we need is what other people need, but it's really being passionate about that, being focused and committed to it. This book has been, it's been a labor of love. Lots of
Mhm.
times I've wanted to quit. I mean, it's been a journey that's so many different obstacles, but it's like I really want to be able to get this out and in front of people. And
Yeah.
it's to me, it's amazing. And when people finally see it, uh, they're amazed.
That's great. And I definitely want to get more into the book, but I think I have so many more questions just on
Yeah,
because we have so many entrepreneurs that listen. You
yeah,
know what I mean? And I think, there's so much that goes into this. As someone who works with business owners all the time, one of
yeah,
the biggest mistakes new business owners make is they go into it thinking, okay, I want to do
yeah.
this, I want to do this, I want to do this, I want to do this, and they have a list of like, 30 things they want to do. And as a result of that, they don't do anything.
Yeah.
They get that stuckness, so
Yeah.
I just, as someone who's really mastered a lot of different segments of business, I think that's important for people to hear that, you can do it all, just a couple
Mhm.
things at a time.
Yep. There's only like, so, well, that's a loaded
Hmm.
statement. I
Hmm.
can go on about that. I think that there's a big, it's not just the doing, and there isn't a magic pill. It's really about taking being intentful, knowing what you want, and then putting motion behind it. And it's like stepping into it because you don't know. I know yesterday I was talking to an entrepreneur, another coach that's just starting out. And she's like, well, she launched her business in June. Okay. And I'm going, I haven't seen her since she launched her business. And I'm going, how's it going? She goes, well, I'm doing a lot of reciprocal coaching. I said, okay, a lot. And I myself was like that. Like, okay, I'm got this business and now they're just going to come.
Hmm.
Then it goes crickets
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's crickets. But it's a matter of, and did I have an imposter syndrome? Yes. I mean, big time. I mean, I had the mindset of manufacturing senior leader, and I'll never forget I walked into the room with the WBOC in February of 2019, and I had to stand up after everybody else did in the room and say my name, my business, and what I did. Well, there were at least 12 coaches, consultants in the room. And I'm going like, oh, wow, who am I to call
Hmm.
myself a coach? But, I think that at the end of the day, it's your commitment. It's stepping into territory um, that you don't know about and finding the people along your path that will help you and bounce things off. And it's okay. Trust me, I've made so many mistakes, but I had to learn from them.
Mhm.
But it's rolling up your sleeves, working hard, and being committed to what you want to put out in the world and believing in it.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. So, who would you say your book is for?
So, wow. Um, the book is continuously evolving as to who it's for. Um, one of the things is uh, it is actually for people 4 to 104. I've had some business acquaintances who have shown me that they've read this to their 4-year-old,
Hmm.
to Chucky Holstein, who is, I think she's 99 now. And she's like, this is just an amazing book. It's a book of illustrations of inspiration in life. Um, and it is for people that want to be inspired. But one of the things that I'm finding is I love getting out and talking about it because I want people to start feeling inspired that they can do something.
Hmm.
They can put something out. So it's not necessarily the book, but it's the process that they can start thinking about what. And don't go to the how, but it's
Hmm.
like start thinking when and start thinking about who you want to bring along with you. And it starts unfolding to being able to all of a sudden get that thing that you want. So it's not just this book is a representation of that, but you know, the other thing that I'm exploring is schools. One of the things schools need is they do the SEL, social emotional learning.
Hmm.
And I had an opportunity to go up to Central Square Elementary School and spend the day up there, bringing Zeus, spoke
Hmm.
to the whole audience of children that are in that school, but then also going into some of the classrooms and talking about the social emotional learning, taking some stories and helping them because there are stories in here that these kids aren't exposed to.
Hmm.
Um, and then also some of the teachers wanted to learn about the process of the book because a lot of times and adults and children, you think once you've done something, it's done. Well,
Hmm.
there's been so many iterations of the illustrations of the book and that you need to be able to start. Yes, I had an idea. Yes, I thought we were going to write this book in the chronological order of
Hmm.
the dog's life.
Hmm.
No. And once we ended up putting all these stories together, it really ends up fitting into the personality of the dog, just like we each have personalities.
Hmm.
Um, Everything is a little different. So it's been, this book is for dog lovers, but people that want to be inspired. And I mean, I have countless people who go, Barb, I just love opening up your book and just coming to a story. And it really is very meaningful for the day. So um, I want to say it can be everybody, but it's got to be somebody who really wants to potentially either is an animal lover or really want to be able to change their lives.
That's great.
So, so Barb, I'm gonna ask kind of a pointy question here, okay? Because
Okay.
you're a business owner, but you're also a business coach and
Yep.
an author, right? And
Yep.
we know that, the unfortunate part of business is they have to be profitable, right?
Yeah.
Like business, like
Hmm.
because we have to feed our, like this coffee I'm drinking is not free, even though I made
Yeah.
it at home, I still have to buy
Yeah.
it. So, but this is, something I'm really interested in talking about because I think profitability stops people from doing things that might be the best thing for their business, right?
Yep.
So my question is, when it hit you and you're like, I love Zeus, I love my dog, I want to do this book. Sorry guys,
Oh,
did I
Yeah,
break?
you froze. You
Where
you
did I?
left off with so.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so I know, right? You were like pins and needles.
We were.
Um, so when you got hit with this, right, and you were like, I need to put this thing into the world, was is anyone gonna buy it a question? Like,
oh,
did you really care that much about, I'm not gonna make enough money from this for it to be worth my time? Can you talk about that a little bit?
yes. I
You don't
mean,
have to get into specific numbers, but I'm just, I think that's such an interesting point for business owners.
yeah. Well, one of the things, thinking about this journey of the book, everybody goes, Barb, Barb, you're not going to make money on the book. I said, okay. But it's also a piece of me that I need to be able to put out in the world. It's like the same thing when I became a coach and I sent everybody out my coming out letter, and everybody's going, Barb, what's wrong with you? You were a successful senior leader in manufacturing, and it's right. I never had to go put my shingle out. People came and found me because
Mhm.
I had built a reputation. And then so now I got my coaching going, and there was no way 6 years ago or 5 years ago or 4 years ago I would have thought that I would be calling myself an author. It's the same thing calling myself now a TEDx speaker. It took me 2.5 years to
Yeah.
do that.
Hmm.
But the problem is that when I decided that I was going to do this book, I did not self-publish. I hired a hybrid publisher. I made an investment in
Hmm.
me. It's an investment.
Yeah.
It was a learning process. I also, throughout the process, I wanted to learn more. This whole industry about book sales and everything is another industry that is
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
OMG,
yeah.
and I'm going like, and you guys, because you're published, and it's like, okay, you're not going to make money, but how you will be able to, there's another way of making money. Part
Hmm.
of it is, between speaking, between getting out and selling potential packages. I mean, I've got this book, but I also have a next book planned, which is going to be more of a prompt journaling to these stories. So it's getting out. I'm looking at other things potentially for schools, so what happens is you step into this thing. You
Hmm.
can think that right
Hmm.
now it's not profitable.
Hmm.
Yes, does the rest of my business help support this endeavor? Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
You, so but I'm not done. There's a lot of legs. I'm going to a Great Dane show. I've been asked to go to lots of different things. So there's different opportunities that are coming up that you don't see when you
Hmm.
first start this book or you
Right.
start seeing this endeavor. But when you really step into that passion and you're committed to it, watch out, because I truly believe that God and the universe hear it.
And like I don't know where I heard this quote, but I heard, business nirvana comes in when move from what's in it for me to
Yes.
I'm in it for
Oh,
us.
Hmm.
Right?
yes.
When we make that transition to I'm just doing things and putting it out because I need to, and I feel
Yeah.
like the world needs it. The success follows if you're looking for the opportunity. So I think that's great.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Um, and I do want to, I want to tell people go on the website, check out the book. And Barb, do you have, and I know we didn't prepare for this, so I'm going to
Yeah.
ask you
Yeah. Yeah.
rapid fire here. Is there a favorite passage that you have from the book that you'd like to share as like
Ah,
or you can do a random, but would you be willing to share a passage from the book?
well, it's really kind of funny. So this, I do have lots of favorite
Mhm.
ones, but there was one, and one of the things that people um, end up saying to me is that we had a book launch in April, and the husband of one of my clients came up to me and he goes, Barb, I opened up your book and it was to this page here, make this year your year. And he goes, this is my year. And it's so meaningful because I truly believe that God and the universe can bring that specifically to you. But I just this morning I opened up to a couple of them, like learning how to follow your life's paths. And it's a picture of two of the Great Danes, Ariana and Zeus, and he goes, learning how to follow your life's path. My parents are carrying things into the kitchen, and they drop a few pieces of food along the way. And you see the two dogs down on the ground picking up the crumbs. And then the wisdom statement is life leaves breadcrumbs. Follow them and see where they lead. And especially as you are putting a business out in the world and or wanting to do something, you never know where it's going to lead. But you're going to start with some breadcrumbs. You're going to start with some little tidbits of things that come to you. People may say something, doors may open up, and it's like follow them, grab hold of them, and see where they lead because there can be a whole bunch of different breadcrumbs, and the breadcrumbs will be different signs. I call
Yeah.
them quantum flirts, things that come to us and we don't really recognize that maybe, oh, right now, maybe this is something, maybe not, but holding on to it because somewhere along the line, that is a breadcrumb that's going to lead to potentially something else.
I
So
love
yeah,
that.
I got a lot
No,
of them.
I love that one, and if
Yeah,
that
that's
doesn't
great.
make people want to go out and get the book like immediately,
Yeah,
I don't know what will. I mean, it's such a great tip.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so, but as we get towards wrapping up here, I want to make sure that I give you a chance just to tell people how to find you, where to get the book, and all of that good stuff. So take it away, Bart.
So you can find me on barbstone.me. You can purchase the book online there. I will send it to you. It is on Amazon. Um, I had a little bit of a switching of publishers recently.
Hmm.
So, um, you can get the Kindle version, the electronic version, you can get the hard copy, and there is a paperback. What comes up sometimes is the old publisher, but it is in there. But this is a book that you want in a hard copy
Yeah,
because it really, it's almost like you want to put it out on the coffee table and it can
Yeah.
prompt different questions or conversations. So, Please follow me. You can sign up for my newsletters on barbstone.me and follow me on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I'm doing a lot of pop-ups. I'm doing a lot of book signings, and doing podcasts because I think it's important about getting the message out. It's not about me, it's about the message and the people.
That's awesome. That's
Absolutely.
great.
And we'll make sure to put, we'll have everything in the show notes,
Yep.
so that for our listeners who are interested, who want to grab it, you can go to the show notes, click on the link there. If you want to just follow Barb, there'll be all those links in there as well. But Barb, thank you.
Yeah.
Number one, thank you for putting this into the world because I think it's a great book. And thank you for being on the show. This was a lot of fun.
That's
Thank
great.
you. Thank you for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for checking out this podcast. Be sure to go give Barb a follow. Pick up a copy of her book, So Much to Drool About, Lessons for Living Large. And we will see you on the next show. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. Hop over to our website at www.achieveresultsnow.com to get your free copy of our book, Ignite Results, 4 specific daily actions to help you achieve results now. You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Achieve Results Now. Thanks for listening, commenting, and subscribing. Now get out there and achieve results now.